I watched this video carefully, and I agree with a lot of the diagnosis. Foundational skills like reading, writing, and reasoning are clearly declining. The data on reading proficiency is real, and it's alarming. Teachers are burned out, classrooms are harder to manage, and students are increasingly disengaged. None of that should be controversial. And before I go any further, yes, I'm aware of the irony here. I'm using an AI avatar to talk about how technology can enable disengagement, but if anything, that actually reinforces the point. The problem isn't the tool, it's how we use it. Where I think we need to be more precise is why this is happening. It's tempting to blame technology itself, or short-form content, or even students' motivation. But those explanations are incomplete. Technology didn't suddenly make kids incapable of learning. What it did was change the structure of school in ways we didn't account for. We introduced tools that make disengagement easier, avoidance quieter, and learning easier to postpone. And then we interpreted the resulting calm as improvement. That's the part we're missing. In older classroom models, disengagement was visible and costly. If you didn't do the worksheet, it was obvious immediately. If you didn't write the essay, there was nothing on your desk. Falling behind triggered early friction. The system forced confrontation with effort, even if learning wasn't perfect. Digital classrooms removed that friction. Assignments now live in portals instead of physical space. Deadlines are flexible. Work can be deferred, batch submitted later, or quietly ignored for weeks. Teachers see completion statuses and timestamps, not real-time thinking. Administrators see fewer disruptions and cleaner metrics, so it looks like things are improving, even when students are mentally checking out. As a parent, this is exactly what I see. My child isn't turning in polished work that masks shallow understanding. He often isn't doing the work at all. Assignments accumulate quietly, then get rushed through later with no real comprehension. That's not laziness. It's a rational response to a system that allows disengagement without immediate consequences. This is why the focus on short-form content and attention spans, while not wrong, doesn't go far enough. Kids have always disengaged. What's changed is that disengagement is now silent, deferrable, and harder to detect. The system no longer requires continuous engagement. The same applies to AI. Students asking, "Why do I need to learn this if AI can do it?" aren't being defiant. They're exposing a flaw in how school defines learning. If the curriculum is built around memorizing isolated factoids and producing finished outputs, then AI does make much of that obsolete. The system has no convincing answer because it hasn't shifted towards skills that require sustained effort: reasoning, explanation, writing, and application. That's why I agree with the argument that we need less note memorization and more skill-based learning, but with an important clarification. This isn't about eliminating knowledge. Facts still matter, but facts should serve thinking, not be memorized in isolation, because they're easy to test. You can cram trivia. You can't cram understanding. Where I part ways with the video is in some of the proposed solutions. Replacing teachers with military veterans or focusing purely on discipline misses the deeper issue. Discipline without pedagogy produces compliance, not learning. The real problem isn't a lack of authority, it's that the system no longer demands visible thinking or continuous effort. Teachers are burned out not because they don't care, but because they're being asked to manage behavior, emotions, and administrative requirements in a system that quietly tolerates disengagement. Technology didn't cause that, but it amplified it by hiding problems instead of surfacing them early. So the solution isn't to remove technology or romanticize the past. It's to redesign education around how learning actually works. That means restoring early accountability, making thinking visible again, and shifting assessment away from work turned in toward understanding demonstrated. It means using technology deliberately, after ideas are formed, not instead of forming them. If we don't make those changes, AI will accelerate the collapse. Not because students are incapable, but because the system no longer requires them to engage. This isn't a crisis of intelligence, it's a crisis of incentives and design. And until we fix that, we'll keep mistaking quiet classrooms and completed portals for real learning.
Thanks for watching. Keep the conversation going in the comment section.